I'm Greg.
And Priscilla. We are from Kansas City, and
we've been married 35 years.
Today is our 35th anniversary, and I, for one, never thought we'd make it. And probably the biggest reason I thought we wouldn't make it is that I thought you were my father, and that was not a good thing. And I grew up in the home of an alcoholic family, and my father was very unpredictable, very angry, very aggressive. And when I looked at you, without knowing it, it wasn't intentional, but I looked at you and I saw men. And my experience with men was that men were dangerous, they were untrustworthy, and they would hurt me.
And it's interesting, as we've talked about all of this, one of the things that came into play at a turning point in our relationship about 17 years into our marriage, which was going along great, is that it really came to a head because I have to realize that in my own way I was treating you as if you were my mom. And so here we are kind of bringing our parents into our relationship.
Not a good thing.
Yeah, in a way that wasn't really healthy, and we were experiencing some pretty toxic conflict in the middle of all that, trying to use our best communication skills to deal with it, but still with some deep, deep emotions. And one of the things I had to deal with was I liked meeting other people's needs. I didn't like admitting I had needs. And I had a hard time asking you to meet needs. I really interpreted any need as a want, and you know, you either get it or you don't. You make sure everybody else's needs are met first, and then you get to yours.
It felt selfish to
you.
you.
It felt selfish, and everybody else's needs never get met, so they never got around to mine. And I really didn't trust you to meet my needs. And I kept that inside, which then made me want you to read my mind, not particularly a good thing. And so we're kind of dealing with a combination of things going on at the same time.
Both of them trust issues, really.
Yeah.
And I remember one time one of our kids was doing something. They were about 2 years old, and you picked up a house slipper and swatted her on the bottom, and I came unglued.
Yeah, that wasn't just me doing something.
That was not swatting. That was not my loving, self-controlled, compassionate husband. That was my father. And he was beating her. And I went there 90-0.
Yeah.
And so that was really, for me, a turning point when I realized I needed to get healthy.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, those reactions kind of kicked in those memories I had of Mom, who could be explosive and who was perfectionistic and demanding and wasn't particularly nurturing. And I was experiencing you as not particularly nurturing because, quite frankly, I wasn't doing a very effective job at asking you for what I wanted, what I needed.
Right,
but at the time I didn't realize that. I knew how frustrated I was. I also knew how perplexed I was when you reacted in ways that didn't seem to match the situation. So, you know, I'm very grateful that, one, we were very tenacious about our commitment to one another.
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we were intentional about developing skills. We didn't always use them, but, you know, we developed these skills for communicating with each other, resolving conflict, doing these kinds of things. We could at least have a conversation. And I think there came a point where we realized we were stuck. And that was one of those points where we realized we needed to overcome whatever it is inside that says you're less of a person if you seek outside support. And on that case, we found our own way to get the outside support. I was seeking that outside support for myself personally. You were seeking it. And we took advantage of that opportunity to do some conjoint work and actually
we
talk
had always
together
been
with a therapist.
very passionate about our relationship, about each other, about our marriage, And we were very committed to being proactive, developing skills, and Better Marriages was invaluable from the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we learned the rules of fair fighting, and that was transformative. But after 17 years, what I realized was that fair fighting, good communication skills, passionate about our marriage, proactive, we were stuck.
Yeah, we were still
And it
stuck.
was because I was still seeing you through a lens.
Yeah.
And I didn't see you.
Yeah.
And trust you. What I saw was my father.
And of course, even the ability to talk about that
Mm-hmm.
comes from the fact that we got this great support from
Yes.
somebody who gave us a lens for seeing what was going on that we
Yes.
weren't able to see at the time.
We weren't aware of that.
And I think it'd be worth
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about that kind of conversation
Mm-hmm.
and how that insight came.
Well, I realized that I had brought baggage into our relationship. And
We both had.
I know every family's dysfunctional, but my family of origin was really dysfunctional. And what I realized was that our relationship was only going to be as strong and healthy as I, as an individual, was strong and healthy. And I recognized that to deal with my stuff, I needed outside help. And went to a wonderful woman counselor who had no answers for me whatsoever, but she asked the right questions. And I, through some very painful months and years even, came to some understanding of that lens that I saw you through, and was able to remove those glasses and see you for who you really were, someone who loved me and someone that I could trust and lean on.
Yeah.
And it changed my life.
Yeah. And simultaneously, I, speaking with therapists, am dealing with how I am operating and realizing that I really haven't even given you a chance to meet my needs because I haven't been good at asserting what those needs are. I've expected you to read my mind. I've expected you to function in a nurturing kind of way. And it really wasn't fair, but I didn't understand that. Quite frankly, I was scared. You know, a little child inside of me that had grown up in a household without a lot of affection, with an atypical kind of mom who gave me all kinds of cultural exposure and artistic interests and some marvelous gifts, but from the nurturing side of things had left me with a lot of unfinished business there, and I got to begin dealing with those things. And then I had to make a choice. I had to decide whether I would take the risk of allowing Priscilla to actually meet my need, or at least ask her and give her a chance, which meant I had to risk rejection. I had to risk asking for something I might not get. And I had reason to be fearful of that because you could get pretty tough and hard.
I grew up a survivor.
And that toughness and hardness kicked that mom stuff into gear for me and worked against my wanting to take a risk to actually say, I'm needing some tenderness, I'm needing some nurturing, I'm needing some love. But I think it was really extraordinary that both of us were doing this intentional work simultaneously, because what I was ready to take a risk on, at the same time you're getting prepared to actually see me in a different way. And when I reached out, wow, you responded by nurturing me. And in fact, you know, Priscilla basically was letting me know that she had wanted to provide that all the time, had been experiencing a lot of frustration that I wouldn't let her nurture me. And but it was a breathtaking moment of realization.
And what we discovered through our own finding health was that we did love each other deeply and dearly, and we were in this for life. And today, on our 35th anniversary, what a testimony, what a testament to being there for each other and with each other through those challenges.
Yeah.
And I love you more today, way more today, not even comparing
Yeah.
To that young 20-year-old love. I love you more today than I could ever have imagined.
And I can say the same thing. And you know, underneath that, just one other thing, I'm so aware that from the beginning of this relationship, the issue of whether we were in it or out of it, on the fence and all that, was never an issue. That was put aside, which meant we could get on and focus on the stuff.
Yeah.
Love you.